Kid Milifalcha to all the urbanists out there, which means 100,000 welcomes in the Irish language. Or, which is the capital city of Ireland, the Emerald Isle. The River Liffey is the main river that bisects the and south, and we're heading towards the south. The first time we went to the south side, we mostly went to Temple Bar area. But today we're going to venture more into the Georgian area, which is this way. So join me as we learn a little bit about historic Dublin. So they have these very on the River Liffey, and then turn soon to pass Trinity College and make our way to a very famous statue because of its large assets, and also because of a very famous song that is deeply associated with Irish culture. So here actually we have Forbidden Planet. Forbidden Planet is actually a very famous comic book store that is also right by Union Square, New York. And I'm actually shocked that it's also here. I know that it's also in London. If anyone knows where it started, do let us know in the comments. And it's a huge line today. Okay. To all the Irish viewers out there, Giadich, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to explore this area, Dublin, and yes, I am really loving Dublin. It's very crowded in here, so I'll talk a little bit more once we get away from the crowded. Oh, this got crazy crowded out all of a sudden. Why is that? People heading... Is this rush hour in Ireland at 4 p.m. on the buses? Hey, Susan, nice to see you here. Welcome. Hey, Eugene. Welcome, Eugene. Toilet brush salesman, Rhonda from Hollywood, Florida. Nice to see you here. Susie, hello, good afternoon. I know it's morning over there in the US. All right, let's escape the crowd. Let's go this way. Ooh, it's freezing. Okay, it's cold. Ooh, cold. So I'm wearing a cardigan, but sometimes, especially once it starts getting very cloudy and the clouds start to roll in and the rain starts to come, it starts getting really chilly. So bring layers. I should have brought my scarf with me today, but I didn't. But hopefully we'll walk with a fast pace in order to keep warm. Does Ireland get colder than New York in the winter? No, actually it doesn't. New York is known for getting very cold in the winter, but no. New York is exceptionally cold in the wintertime, going down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Here, I don't think so. Here, I think the coldest even gets is in the mid-30s. Hey, Dave. Nice to see you here from Bangor, Maine. Hello, Ronald. ¿Cómo está acá? Panayotis. Saturday afternoon in Dublin is always busy. Oh yeah, it is Saturday. Yeah, well, oh, I thought it was a weekday. Yeah, it's crazy busy. At least that area with all the buses. Ireland gets very damp though, says Pat. Indeed it does, Pat. They rarely get snow. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, New York gets way colder in the winter. But Dublin by far is colder in this late summer period, early spring, early fall period than New York. Don't forget Merrion Square. Yeah, one time, Pat, we're sticking to that area today. So right now we're heading to a very famous statue that still haunts the streets of Dublin today. Stay tuned. So in winters, you do not see Irish Sherpas. Well, Sherpas is a concept from Tibet. You might see them cozied up in their cardigans. They're made out of wool. I'm wearing a cotton cardigan. I gotta get myself a wool one, which Kay was so kind enough to gift me one. I was unable to bring it for this time around because I couldn't pack too many things coming here. Michael says Dublin. Yes, if you pronounce Dublin a little bit more Irish, Dublin. Indeed, indeed, that's how you say it. All right, let's continue walking through here. Hey, C Mills, nice to see you here. Welcome. Kid me la falcha. That means 100,000 welcomes, because it's not enough to say 1,000 welcomes. No, you have to go full force. 100,000 welcomes. How do we gift you things, says Stephanie? Do you have a P.O. box? I don't have a P.O. box yet, but a lot of people have asked me to gift me things. So I will be looking into getting a P.O. box once I get back to New York at some point in October. Stay tuned. Kathy sent 100 stars. Yeah, Kathy. We are 30,000 stars away from reaching the goal, and we got about 5 days, September 26th, to get to that goal, and Facebook will double stars. So leave your stars right now, and that will enable me to show you more of lovely Ireland. I have people watching from all around the world who want to see Ireland before they come over here, or people who are unable to travel for a myriad of reasons, and this is their travel. So thank you so much for your support and your contributions. Here we see the double-decker buses of Ireland, TFI, Transport for Ireland. That's their transit authority. Here we have the Bank of Ireland, which doesn't have any windows except for a skylight on the top. And there's a museum exhibition, which I actually want to see at some point soon. And if you were on YT, slam that like. And for any of the Irish viewers out there that know Irish, let me know, how do I say like in Irish? Like liking something. How do I say that? Like in Irish. Make sure you take the bus down to Glendalough. It's such a beautiful place in the south of Dublin. Old monastery ruins and high cross. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I'll be curious about that. So here's Trinity College, which unfortunately I wish I can show you inside, but they are very restrictive right now with allowing people in. I end up seeing it earlier today because I went to see the Book of Kells, which I'll be publishing a small video inside the library. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, this is the world famous Trinity College. The likes of Bram Stoker Oscar Wilde, Bram Stoker's wife as well, which we'll learn about her a little bit later, all attended here, and many, many others. Let me know what other famous people have attended here at Trinity College. Do let me know. So this is the Bank of Ireland building. It has 0 windows, which is very odd for a structure. And the joke I heard on the bus, which is not my joke, it's a joke from the tour guide on the bus, said that the reason it has no windows is because if you leave your money at the Bank of Ireland, it will never see the light of day. Meaning you'll never get it back. Which I think is a hilarious way of giving a reason why it has no windows. That's funny. Kay says, Jillian left 50 stars. Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jillian. That's so awesome. So let's take a little detour over here. I just want to show you the Bank of Ireland building a little bit more. It's gorgeous. Beaux-Arts building. I guess all banks should have no windows as well. Indeed, indeed. Strange without windows. Yeah, it is so strange without windows. I wonder why they made it that way. I don't know the reason, so if anyone knows, write it down in the comments. Rados, nice to see you here. My nephew spent a semester at Trinity. Yeah, that's so awesome, Marianne. Scooby says your drunken Irish dad would approve. Ooh, what would he approve of? Donald says, I'm glad you finally made it to Ireland. I'm sure Kay and others will be especially happy about this. Ooh, yes, Donald. I'm so happy to be in Ireland. What is it? A bank for vampires? Well, maybe. Maybe Bram Stoker got inspiration for Dracula right over here. So for many people who don't know, Bram Stoker of the novel Dracula walked these very streets of Dublin before he went over to London. Maybe he got his inspiration right over here. Who knows? Dracula definitely did have a lot of money. He was an aristocrat. Let's cross the street. Pat says, Irish are very great at joking with you, as they say slagging. Yes, a good slagging. But slaggings usually happen if you know someone, or you kind of get to know them throughout the course of a night at the pub. But yeah, slagging is the concept of banter with Irish amongst friends and family. Susie says, if you could pop into Brown Thomas, I'm sure Gary would like to buy me new dress. Susie, let me know what's Brown Thomas. Is that the top end department store, which I think we're gonna pass a little bit later? Hey Raul, I'm doing well. Ronald says, slagging in their face is okay, not on their back. Well, Ronald also roamed these very streets, once said. I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact quote. But Enemies stab you in the back, friends stab you in the front. Oh, now here we're seeing some cool architecture. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the historic center of Dublin. But oh, today is it cool or hot? Cool. $500 stars. Thank you so much, Mike. Okay, we're already hearing the music. So we are just around the corner of a very famous street known for its buskers. We don't know what the word busker means. It means a musician who plays outside on the street, performing in the street. (1699), June 13th, a woman who was known as a fishwife. Fishwives were women who sold fish on the street, roamed these streets of Dublin, and she was known for being a particularly very good-looking fishwife or fishmonger. She ended up passing away on June 13th, apparently due to a fever. However, it was too early in her life. And because she died way too young, according to legend, she still roams the streets of Dublin late at night. This legend might have been inspired later due to a song that was published in 1876 that became famous all around Ireland, called Cockles and Mussels. This Irish folk song talked about the legend of Molly Malone. And Molly Malone is a fishwife who roams these very streets. And the statue of her was built here in 1988. And right over here. 1988, right over here. Molly Malone. I want to play you the song as I show you the statue. Here's the song Cockles and Mussels.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheels her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles.
So that was the song Cockles and Mussels. Two different types of fish, which you see her in her baskets right here. And yeah, the tradition is to rub her assets in order to get some good luck. So I had to how they say in the US, cop a feel. I don't condone that with any real life person. That song that you just heard is famous in Ireland, and people associate it with being a very famous song of the city of Dublin. It represents Dublin, you know, in a way similar to how Yankee Doodle Dandy represents America in some respects. Well, that song actually was published in the US in 1876. No one knows if it's actually based on an Irish folk song. Many people believe that is indeed the case. But that song that you just heard is actually published in the US first. A few years later, a Scot by the last name of Yorkton actually published another song about Molly Malone right over here. But that one was way more risque. I won't actually play you that song, because that song doesn't just talks about cockles and mussels, but it talks about cockles just with a few less letters, and maybe using some other mussels late night. That song was insinuating that Molly wasn't just a woman of selling fish by day, but she was also a woman of the night. Nonetheless, it's still believed to be an old Irish folk song. They found out that an actual woman named Molly Malone died at June 13th, 1699, though Molly was a nickname for Mary or Margaret. So that was her original name, Mary or Margaret, one of those two. Jessica, thank you so much for the 200 stars. I appreciate it. Donald says Ariel's keeping abreast of the tourist attractions. Indeed I am. Indeed I am. Jessica sent 200 stars. Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate you. It's one of your go-to practice guitar songs, says Susie. That's so cool, Susie, that you practice guitar that way. So yeah, first busker. So we're gonna hear a few buskers because we are going around the corner to Grafton Street, and that's where the Molly Malone statue used to be originally located. The film Once, which became very famous and then became a hit Broadway musical, actually was filmed in this area of Dublin and starts in this area of Dublin on the film. So let me know if you actually seen Once on Broadway or seen the film, which the Broadway musical is based on. Hey, we'll see. We're heading to Grafton Street right now. Let's see. Molly, I'm sure she will prefer to do a living from something else. So fishwives was actually a common job in Ireland. They weren't the wives of fishermen. Wife was mostly used as a term to denote just a woman, whether she's married or not. And fishwives was a common practice. Women would sell these fishes in the town centers. And the thing is, certain towns actually were known to have fishwives that were very, very good looking, and they would use their good looks to sell more fishes. But there was also a saying here in Ireland saying, oh, you're as foul-mouthed as a fishwife. meaning that the fishwives were also very foul-mouthed women because they had to sell that fish. It had to be fresh that day of. And if they didn't sell it, the fish would go bad and they would lose out on money. So in order to sell that fish as quickly as possible, they would do any means necessary. Meaning that they would sell in a very foul-mouthed way. But there were a few towns in Ireland where they were known to be very beautiful.
I have no idea, I'm just wandering. There's an outdoor store.
And here's an actual photo that shows fishwives. This probably is from the late 1800s, mid 1800s. Probably as the profession was dying out. Jason, thank you so much for the 200 stars. Lizette sent 500 stars. Oh yes, stars are counted for double. So Lizette, you basically sent 1,000 stars. Jason, you basically sent 400 stars. Thank you so much. Oh my God, we found the cheeky Nando's. I never had Nando's, even though I've been to England before. This is not an Irish treasure. This is a British treasure, or English treasure, to be specific. Nando's. Who wants to see a live video of me one day going to Nando's? I think it'll be more appropriate me showing Nando's in England rather than here in Dublin. I love this is the first time this is the multiple times I've already seen this. Foreign restaurants, ethnic restaurants here in Dublin are still called like traditional Irish names, which is very interesting because you don't see that too often, at least in New York or other major cities I've been to in the US. You don't really see that. But here, there's a Lebanese restaurant called the Cedar Tree. It's fascinating. Hey, Carolyn, thank you so much for the 200 stars. I appreciate you. Oh, here we are. This is Wicklow Street right now. Ooh, it's bumping. Oh, here we have Lotterie, the Parisian bakery, which I actually featured when I went to Paris. There's a Nando's in the States as well? Really, S-Fields? Where? Where's the Nando's in the States? The cedar's part of the Lebanese flag. Oh, thank you so much, Jacob. I wasn't aware. But nonetheless, I've seen these ethnic restaurants still use names that sound like they could be an Irish pub. A lot of people here. Yeah, a whole lot of people here. Definitely very, very full. Good coffee at Butler's. I've heard, but you know what? I want to show you the oldest coffee shop in Dublin. Let's see if it's open, because I would love to show you that coffee shop. But let me find Grafton Street. Not sure which way is Grafton Street. Somewhere around here. Yeah, we gotta go further down this way. Those in Australia too, says Leanne. Really? That's so cool. There's a Nando's in Canada, says VT.
Oh, it's like a website.
Nando's in the US is in Washington and Chicago. Oh, interesting. Thank you, Marina. Oh, is this the famous ice cream from Dingle? Famous ice cream from Dingle, everyone. Oh, that's kind of cool. I dig that. I don't see too many masks, says Anthony. Nope, no, not required outside. Esfield says that's the one I mentioned, the ice cream. Murphy's? Best ice cream in Ireland, says Eyeball. Really? Really, it is? So full. Do you know if they're just tourists or Dubliners? I don't think there's not that many tourists here at the moment. Not that many. Okay, everyone, who wants to see an ice cream break? I mean, we're already here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it to Dingle, to the original one. So maybe it's time to seize the day. Let me know if you want me to seize the day and go and try some Dingle ice cream in Dublin. Dingle in Dublin. Let me know. Let me know if you want a little Dingle in Dublin. A little Dingle in Big Dublin. Okay, let's try a little Dingle in Dublin. I gotta put on my mask and I gotta turn off music. So enjoy Cockles and Mussels one more time. Cockles and Mussels should be public domain, so I don't think I'll be copyrighted for that song.
City where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone as she wheels her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
She was a fisherman, no wonder, for so was her father and mother before, and they each brought and alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
She died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels. Oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and oh, alive, 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 oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive. Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone as she wheels her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive.
Okay, so that was amazing. One of the guys at the counter was so amazed I was doing a live video of the ice cream. So here is Murphy's. I tried a few samples. I'm so excited to try this on camera. I'm actually really hyped. Those samples really did blow me away. So let me find a more quieter space I can actually put down my camera. But this is Murphy's handmade in Dingle. I'm already recommending it just from those two samples. But let me go to a place where I can sit down. Or not sit down, but place my camera down. So very, very nice service. Here in Ireland, it's super friendly. Very, very friendly. Great customer service here that I've encountered. It has similarities to American customer service. But there is a little bit more of a warmth from what I've seen thus far. Now, they actually don't charge per scoop. They charge per cup. And you can have as many different ice creams in a cup. And then they'll just wait it out so they don't overstuff the cup. So that's a very interesting way. I just decided to get for 2 scoops in the medium cup. All right, I think I found this one. Okay, so let's try this out. Here I'm eating Bayer's ice cream, says Christine. So a few people sent stars. Let me know if you sent stars. I think Marianne was one of them. Thank you so much for sending stars, Marianne. And if anyone sent a super chat, do let me know. I was concentrating on buying the ice cream. Let's try this out. So I got 2 different types of flavors. And, you know, anywhere around the world, in Italy, in America, anywhere, we can get chocolate, we can get maybe coffee flavor, we can get these basic flavors. You can get vanilla, you can get strawberry, mango. There was mango here. Mango is something you can even get in Puerto Rico as well. It's very famous there. But I want to show you a true Irish flavor, which is Dingle sea salt and brown bread. Sea salt. The actual salt from the sea here, right by Dingle. In the Irish map. I think it's further up. Actual sea salt from the beaches of Dingle. So a little Dingle and a big cup and some brown bread. There we go. This is perfect. Perfect. Some brown bread. All right. Unfortunately, a very dodgy person decided to step right next to me. So now I gotta find another spot. So bear with me. All right, bear with me. Sorry, there was Thank you so much, Satu, for the 1,000 yen. I really appreciate you. So this actually has chunks of brown bread. Let's try it out. And we're hearing the Buskers nearby. So now we're in famous Grafton Street, and I had to move because a guy literally stepped right next to me. I didn't want to show his face. He stepped right next to me, smoking a cigarette, and I looked at him, and I'm not sure what he was up to. Don't know, but that's why I had to move. All right, let's try this out. Cheers. Some brown bread. Doesn't sound like very intriguing, very delicious. Wow. That is a weird ice cream. Weird ice cream. So, there's actual chunks of brown bread here. Frozen brown bread that apparently has been caramelized. I'm not sure how they did it. Maybe they cooked it and then froze it. And the ice cream itself has that brown bread texture. It almost tastes like the very first moment you bite into a brown bread slathered with butter. It has that kind of buttery taste to it. And it's really good. Wow. That's delicious. It's a brown bread multigrain. I think it is. So weird. Yeah, I'm tasting the seeds and everything. Literally brown bread. They ain't joking. All right, let's try the sea salt. Sea salt from the Dingle Sea. Dingle beaches. I'm a huge fan of salt in sweets. When you add like a salted caramel or salted pistachio, it's a really good combination. I really enjoy it. This, literally super salty, but not in a bad way. You actually taste the sea here. It's like if I froze that sea foam that dead mermaids turn into. If you freeze it and make a taste. That's the experience. The taste of deceased mermaids who have foamed up into the sea and has been frozen and turned into ice cream. This is amazing. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It's great. Hey, too bad the owners, Americans who went back. What do you mean, S-Fields? Do let me know. Stephanie says, your food descriptions kill me. Well, hopefully not like those mermaids. I usually don't like ice cream too much, but this is really delicious. It definitely tastes more in line with American ice cream. So it's not like a super creamy gelato. It's a little bit more crystallized ice cream like the American kind. But the choices of flavors here, and the fact that it has this puffiness, this kind of fluffiness, it doesn't taste too sweet, maybe because of the salt, but even with the brown butter one, they didn't add barely any sugar. It's really good. And you also taste, I think, the eggs that are used in the process of making this ice cream. Delicious. One of the better things I've tried. Highly, highly recommend Murphy's. Highly recommend it. Try Murphy's from Dingle. All right, let's continue walking around through Grafton Street. Susie says, I like ice cream with texture. Yeah, this is definitely an ice cream with texture. I'm gonna have a few more bites. Adam asks, is it hard ice cream? Not as soft and creamy as gelato, but not as hard as American commercial ice cream. is actually one of the better ice creams I tried. That is one of the better ice creams I tried. Wow. Oh, I'm blown away. Wow. Hey, if you come here to Dublin, buy this ice cream immediately. Wow. Oh, I'm really blown away. Oh, I just want a milkshake of that now. There goes the DMC. Yeah, I might get copyrighted for these covers, so thank you so much for your support. There's a lot of buskers here, so I'm not going to mute the buskers. A lot of buskers here. Right behind these gentlemen is Trinity College.
Just all that you are and everything that you do. I don't even have to look very much further. I don't wanna have to go where you don't follow. Said I won't hold it back again. This passion inside can't run from myself. There's no way to hide.
Continue walking around. Thank you so much for 200 stars, Linda. And someone else left the super chat. Who was it? Marina says, "Oh no, he does not have the song, the voice for that song." He's doing his own rendition. Only his own rendition. Lots of foreigner in Dublin these days. I've noticed that Dublin is a very international city. And I'm surprised because 97% of Ireland is Irish, white Irish. I am shocked that the city is so diverse. This is the type of crowd I would expect in London. So Grafton Street has been the famous street for more than a century. Up until only a few decades ago, there was actually car traffic here, and it was one of the noisiest streets of Dublin. And here's another photo. And here we have another busker. We're gonna see a whole lot of buskers. Now, I think it's important to pay attention to these buskers because some buskers who have performed here have become international stars. Maybe one of the lesser known ones is Rodrigo y Gabriela. They are a duo that plays amazing acoustic Spanish guitar, and it's amazing. And they busk here on Grafton Street. They have become famous, and their songs have been featured in films and in commercials. So they are very popular and very successful. But the most famous person to have busked over here is Bono in the 1970s. Yep, Bono, before he became famous for U2, used to busk here like this woman is busking right now. Maybe for some change. Even Ed Sheeran's song, Galway Girl, actually has a few lines about Grafton Street at the beginning of the song. Inspired Life says, I love Rodrigo y Gabriela. Oh, Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad people know about them. Yeah. I mean, they're famous, but a lot of people might not know them by name. Here's Brown Thomas, one of the higher end shops of Dublin. This is basically the Harrods of Dublin. Harrods is the Nordstorms or the Bloomingdales of London. So yeah. Bono was a busker? Yeah, he was. Indeed, he was. Bono was busking. Busker did Bono. KM, and we have a few new viewers commenting that there's too much talking going on in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a show where we talk, and we talk a lot. So if you want no talking, plenty of other videos out there around the YouTube world where you can see complete silence of people walking around the streets of Dublin with not a peep. You can see that, but you have to look elsewhere. Here we talk, and we talk a lot. Chris, Adele, what are you referring to Adele? Was she singing a cover of Adele? Oh, what song is this? Oh, I love this song. Jason Mraz, thank you so much for letting us know. That's Phil's, yeah, Jason Mraz. Pat, how do I pronounce Anya? Anya, thank you so much for tuning in. Hey Anya, hope you're enjoying your journey to Ireland. Glad you're studying here. Pat is a loyal urbanist. Thank you so much for tuning in, Pat. Thank you so much for your recommendations as well. I cannot believe how super clean the street is. Says MK. Yeah, it's super clean, super clean. Unlike Athens, there's no graffiti. No graffiti. Not too much graffiti here. I've barely seen any. Lots of street art, but not graffiti. This is full. Wow, for Saturday, very full. Did I have coffee yet? Well, yeah, I already had my 2 cups of coffee. Dublin is a nice coffee city. There's a lot of great coffee shops I've noticed around. I've had very good coffee thus far. But I'm glad you mentioned coffee. Because this is one of the oldest coffee bars in all of Dublin. Booley's Oriental Cafes. Established here in the 1920s. But the actual cafe dates back to the 1840s. Maria says, yes, definitely has become an obsession. Ariel creates incredible tour videos. Oh, I'm so glad, Ava and Maria. Thank you so much. Ellie, how's the situation here in the pandemic? I don't really pay attention to that anymore. So I would recommend going to other sources for that. The reason I really don't pay attention to that because it's changing every single day. I'm really focused on traveling and learning about the history. But I can tell you how I personally feel walking around Dublin. I feel calm, I feel relaxed, and I luckily am a person in very good health. So I feel very relaxed walking around the streets here in Dublin and dining indoors and outdoors. These are mostly tourists? I don't think so. I think what we're seeing is a lot of are expats or immigrants. I'm not sure if Dublin actually has a lot of immigrants, but it definitely has a lot of expats. So it has a lot of Polish people who come here to work, Indians, people from various parts of Africa, and also a lot of, I've seen more and more British people here. And I've noticed a lot of American students too, and Chinese students. So I think that's what we're seeing here. I don't think it's mostly tourists. All right, let's go into Bully's Cafe. Let me see if I can go in. Hey, Mona, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. And Lisa, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Wow, Lisa, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. And if you're new to these videos, these are live videos. We take our sweet, sweet time walking around. There's also a lot of talking. We do a lot of chatting. They are not structured and they're not edited. So we take our sweet, sweet time. You do see both the slow moments and you see also the exciting moments, all in one video. I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, there's other great vlogs to see that are edited or silent videos elsewhere. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, let me see if I can go to Bully for coffee to go. For the oldest coffee shop in Dublin. So Dublin actually was not a coffee city for many decades from what I read. I think there was not even coffee shops here until the 90s. So let me see if I can take away. Stay tuned. Okay, now let me just peek in a little bit. I just wanted to see you a little bit, just take a quick photo.
Yeah, you can go in and do that if you like. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Wow, look at that. I think B. Griffin, yeah, give or take. I'm not gonna stay in, but I just wanted to show it. I might come here just for fun later. Beautiful, beautiful place. No takeaway service here, unfortunately. But look at the cups. Oh my God, they have the cronut box. Did they make the box before the cronut? Ah, interesting. This box is trademarked in the US. So only Dominic Ansel, who makes the cronut, can use that type of box. All right, let's continue walking. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, very beautiful. All right, here we have another busker. Wow, the woman's very young. Very young. Wow. So here we have buskers of all ages. Are you hungry soon? Says Adam. No, not necessarily. But I think the beauty of exploring the city is to hop in if you see interesting food or interesting bite and try it out. Why not? Why not try an interesting bite? Hey, Mona, thank you so much for sending a super chat. Appreciate the $2 super chat. I don't like the busker yet. Well, luckily here you have your variety. Who said they didn't like the busker? Ashley. Yeah, here you have your variety. You can pick and choose what busker you listen to, luckily. It's very nice. It's very nice that we have a nice choice. All right, let's go over here. The area seems very modern. We all want to see you have an espresso in the tree. Thank you so much for sponsoring the espresso, Lisa. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. +8,000 stars were being sent. Ava, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Yeah, Ava, $10 super chat. Ooh, and thank you everyone for the 8,000 stars. We're getting closer. Now we are 20-something thousand stars left. Oh, look who's here. The boys are back in town. Oh yeah. Let me know if you recognize this man right over here. He made the famous song, The Boys Are Back in Town. There's a lot of other famous songs by this gentleman over here. He's known as the father of Irish rock and roll. He was the guy who paved the way for the likes of U2 and many other bands. The Irish bands that took over the airwaves in the late 1970s, early 1980s. Yep, this is the frontman of Thin Lizzy, Philip P. Lynott. So Phil Lynott. He was alive from 1949 to 1986. And this is a statue commemorating him right over here. This is actually the place he got fired from, a place called Skid Row, by another famous Irish rock and roller that was before him. He didn't get as famous as Thin Lizzy did. Now this guy has a very interesting upbringing. Here he is performing right here with his band. He died very young, at only 36 years old. Very young. But as you can see, he has a quite interesting look to him. Aside from being the father of Irish rock and roll, he's also one of the very first Afro-Irish or Black Irish, but not, it gets a little bit confusing because Black Irish means people with black hair, light complexion. But he's one of the first, most famous Afro-Irish also. He was half Guyanese, British Guyanese, and half British, half English. And his family moved here to Ireland at a very young age. Of course, he was picked on for his look because also being Protestant, he grew up in a Catholic neighborhood. So he really stuck out here in this area of Ireland. Well, nonetheless, he was a very talented musician. He ended up becoming one of the most famous musicians in rock and roll history. And as I mentioned, he made the world famous song, The Boys Are Back in Town. They had a pretty nice long career. Their very last concert was in 1983 in Germany, and they decided to break up after that, Thin Lizzy. He unfortunately died a few years later in 1986. And so he died very young, only at the age of 36. And he's commemorated here. And it's nice to see this amazing statue of such a legend who made whiskey in a jar, says George. Indeed. Look at the guitar. A lot of people put their guitar picks right here in commemoration. Brian says, wow, my wife is Guyanese. He spent his spiritual wealth too fast, says Cynthia. Maybe. Are those pics real? Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, these are real pics. Copyright free, so that's nice. Public domain. I have a few more. Let me post them before we continue walking. There he is. Hey Ava, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you. Let me know, what's your favorite Thin Lizzy song, if anyone has any others. I think this is the most epic photo of him. Look at that. They got his likeness pretty well done. And they also got his afro really well done as well. And of course his mustache. Lenny Kravitz vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, despite, Macaulay says, I wonder if he had an Irish accent. Someone earlier mentioned he's a proper Irishman. Yes, despite his ancestry, he indeed is known as being a proper Irishman. Yeah, he did songs that involved Celtic mythology and Irish folklore. He even did an album updating Irish folk songs into rock and roll. So yeah, he was a proper Irishman through and through. He identified himself as Irish, and people here in Ireland also identified him as Irish. Mary says Ballroom Blitz. Wait, did he make Ballroom Blitz? Mary, you sure? Do let me know. Jimi Hendrix vibes. Yeah, he does have Jimi Hendrix vibes as well. Mary also says Ballroom Blitz. Yeah, let me know. Did Thin Lizzy make Ballroom Blitz? I love that song. Here's another famous pub. A lot of literaries used to hang out here. Established in 1779, so some of these pubs are old. Some of them are as old as my country of the US of A. So look at that. McDade's. Ronald says, I bet you could rock hair like that. I don't quite grow an afro. No, I do have curly hair once it gets very, very long. Danny says, Ballroom Blitz was by the Suite. Okay, thank you. Macaulay says, I need to go there and find family. Yeah, let me know. Let me know, are you from Irish ancestry? And I think Donald, I'm not sure if you're still watching, but Donald, let me know, do you have Irish ancestry? Campbell, I think, might be a Scottish name. First dude in flip-flops walked past by, says Chris. Yeah, that's a rare sight here, at least. Let's go to this church right over here. MK says, when am I going to a pub and singing, Mona? Maybe some point in this trip, maybe. Lynott says, no, Sweat did Ballroom. Sweet or Sweat? Do let us know. Very conservative dress in Ireland. Yeah, you know, I by far have probably the most colorful shirt as many of the men walking here. I love the movie The Commitments, Ariel. Have you ever seen it? No, I have not seen The Commitments. Will you buy an Irish sweater? I probably will buy another cardigan from here, yeah, at some point. Let me know if anyone has any good recommendations for cardigans. The button kind, not the zipper kind. Are there commuter trains in Ireland, asks Veronica? in Ireland, under or above ground? I'm not. I don't think they have underground rail. I think it's only above ground. So yeah, there's above ground rail. Will you buy a kilt? Kilt is more of a Scottish thing than it is a Irish thing. MK Mona asks, do I kiss the Blarney Stone? I think the Blarney Stone is literally closed because of the pandemic. So I won't be kissing it. Or maybe I'll pass by it. Maybe. Stay tuned. Oh my god, there's Georgian Street Foods. Is this the same one from New York? Yeah, same logo. I'm not sure if they're ripping off, but same logo, same menu. Yeah, Georgian Street Foods from New York. Oh my god, a Gotham Cafe. I've seen the little bits of New York walking around here. I saw earlier today Brooklyn Pizza. Wilmy says, according to my DNA, I'm about 7% Irish. Wilmy. I feel you, Wilmy. I'm around the same percentage. Between 5 to 10%. I haven't done my own test yet, but my father did his own DNA test and he got 10% Irish. Genetics.
Started doing CPR.
I wish it were open, but it's a Church of Ireland Anglican. There's a few Anglican churches here, which kind of shocked me. I was expecting more Catholic churches to be around. Susie says, I bet you're 90% Scottish. Probably not, Susie. Probably not. So, during the college days of Oscar Wilde, one of the more famous writers in Ireland's history, known for his satirical writings and his very quippy one-liners, he was courting a woman by the name of Florence Belcombe. She ended up denying his courtship over and over and over again. He was never successful in getting the whims of Florence. But another man did get the whims of Florence. His name was Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker later became famous for the novel Dracula. And here in 1878, they married. Right here, Bram Stoker and Florence Belcombe. Church. And right after, they moved over to London. So here's Oscar Wilde. However, Oscar Wilde quite did not get the whims of Florence. He ended up getting beaten by Bram Stoker. Beautiful church. What about Art Deco in Dublin? I don't think there's that many. There's not that much Art Deco, I think. Okay, for a little context, great question. Is there Art Deco in Dublin? That's an excellent question. As we're walking around, you're going to see two different types of architecture. You're going to see Georgian architecture, and then you'll see modern architecture from about the 1970s, but a little bit later, especially 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. That's the two types of architecture we're seeing in this area for two reasons. One, why is there modern buildings right next to beautiful historic buildings? Is it because they had terrible landmarking rules? No. I'm not sure. It's not quite the case like in New York. It's similar to the case in London. It was war-torn. However, they weren't the victim of World War I. They were not the victim of World War I. They were the victim of infighting inside here in Ireland during the Easter Rising, which was the very first rebellion, and then the Irish Rebellion, and then later the Irish Civil War. So many buildings did get torn down and destroyed. The second factor is, why is there no Art Deco? Art Deco was famous in the 1920s and 30s. As Ireland got its independence in 1922, they struggled really hard to find a way to make money. Ireland skipped over the Industrial Revolution. The reason they skipped that revolution was because, being a British colony, the British had no intention in spreading industry over here to Ireland. It had a few. It had Guinness with beer, but not that much. Ireland was mostly an agricultural society. So getting its own independence and not having any industry, they had to figure a way how to grow an entire country basically overnight. It took them a few decades. But by the 1970s and 80s, that's when Ireland became known as the Celtic Tiger, because that's when they really figured it out. And then later, again in the 1990s, is when it really skyrocketed. To this day, making it one of the most richest countries in the entire world. That's because of the massive tax breaks that they give to massive, mostly American-based companies like Apple, like Google, like Facebook, and many others. Apple has most of its funds here in Ireland stored. So that's why there's no Art Deco. Ireland really missed out on any major development in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. They really started developing again 70s, 80s, 90s. So that's why. Go to 23 Kildare Street. What's at 23 Kildare Street? Let me know. Belfast, Northern Ireland was the industrial capital. Yeah, with shipbuilding, right? With shipbuilding. But even then, did Belfast have any other industries? Do let us know. And yes, everyone, please don't mention other live streamers. I appreciate the work of my colleagues. And I appreciate that you enjoy my show and my colleagues' work. But mentioning another live streamer on these broadcasts is like going to someone's party and saying, hey, there's another awesome party around the corner. I'm going to go there. So keep that in mind. Cool jacket. Bad lighting. Go into the park facing you. You mean this one? Right over here? Former April. Oh, okay, that's nice. Axie, thank you so much for letting us know. So there is an Art Deco building or so. Thank you so much. Nearby. What street is this? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see the sign. Dawson Street. Dawson Street. ¿Se fuma poco tabaco en Irlanda? Pregunta Manny. Sí, yo no he visto tanto fumando porque no se permite mucha área, pues yo creo que personas fuman en los restaurantes afuera. Eso que yo he visto fumando. So is smoking common here in Ireland? I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of people smoke, a little bit more than New York, but not as much as a country like Greece. I think Ireland is not as smoke heavy as maybe other European countries. Let us know. But smoking is not allowed indoors. And I think outdoors, less and less places are allowing smoking. Have you been to a pub with traditional Irish music yet? No, I have not. I do want to go at some point. Stay tuned. Wow, this is a beautiful street over here. Macaulay says, oh my god, Jack Dawson from Titanic? Indeed, named after Jack Dawson of Titanic. That character was American, so no, probably not. Look at this very fancy restaurant. Is that store called Milano? Yeah, it's a restaurant chain for pizza, so it's a pizza chain. And it's also in London. I think it might be from England. But yeah, it's a pizza restaurant chain. These are beautiful fronts. Paul says only you could put the lives and live streaming. Oh, thank you so much, Paul. Will you have any special guests on your live streams? Maybe. Stay tuned. I don't have any friends here involved in tourism, so it won't be a friend involved in tourism like I had a few in Italy. Street light, so gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Sunny day today. The Sumerian says, I don't know why, but I expected Dublin to be uglier. It's nice. You know, you make an excellent point. Let me go back to Grafton Street, so I'll show you more of that beautiful street. And then we'll show another of the park. Sumerian on Twitch, that's a great comment. You know, I kind of expected a little bit of the same. I knew Dublin had some parts beautiful, but I did not expect it to be this nice. And I think the city has done very well in cleaning up its image. And also, the city's so rich that is why I think they have such great public services. So here's the emblem of Dublin right over here. Can we see the restaurant? Probably won't be able to walk into the restaurant, Chris. Hey, Jay Fox. Lovely walk so far. Thanks as always. My pleasure, Jay Fox. All right, let's go back to Grafton Street. Ryan says it's richer than many American cities. I mean, yeah, Dublin, the average GDP is way higher than America. The average income here in the country of Ireland is $80,000. 88, something along those lines. It's among the highest in the world. I think in the top 5. The highest, I think, being right now is Singapore with 100-something thousand. So yeah, it's a very rich country. So Macaulay's asked, is this designed? Yeah, so this part of Dublin is called the Georgian area, or the Georgian quarter. In the mid-1800s, during the reign of King George, it was redone, many parts of it. So they actually widened a lot of the streets, added probably the very first streetcar systems, and also made a lot of these new Georgian buildings. So a lot of development here that we're seeing is actually from Georgian times, mid-1800s. Hey, Just Me Goodness, thank you so much for tuning in. Jay Hendricks says, King George got it done.
Oh yeah.
Indeed, maybe with a heavy hand. Paul says, of course, it's our money. Wait, Paul, you are American, right? This is not an economics channel, so we won't discuss that per se. but yeah, Paul, that is I think a valid comment. Very complicated issue, but a valid comment. No police officers here. I have not seen any police officers yet. By the river and the main McConnell Street, yes, but not here. Wow, we have 575 people tuning in at the same time. That's amazing. Everyone slam that like button right now. Nestor, have I gone to Murphy's? I have. Mark says our GDP is inflated. Maybe, yes. Have we covered nightlife yet, says Helen? Not really, not yet. Irish are very law-abiding? Maybe, I'm not sure. It strikes me. It doesn't. I feel pretty safe in the city. Another busker here. Someone asked me what are the type of accents I'm hearing. Of course, aside from Irish, I'm hearing Spaniards. I've seen already many Mexicans, and I've seen Brazilians as well, and Portuguese, and Polish. It's mostly what I've heard thus far. Yeah, girl curls. Yeah, girl Carol says, have I run into Saoirse Ronan? No, I have not yet. maybe we'll feature her in the live video at some point. Stay tuned. who wants to do a live video tour with Saoirse Ronan. Jay Hendricks says Mexicans in Ireland? Yep, plenty. I've ran into plenty. And I've seen already a few burrito shops and restaurants. Dublin is beautiful. Oh yes. You'll get a nice waterproof jacket, says Gary in North Face. I already have one, luckily. I already came packed with one. I haven't worn it yet because it's been pretty good weather. I don't know. I thought here in Ireland I would encounter rain, gloomy, gray weather, but no, it's sunny, ladies and gentlemen. What happened to gray, gloomy London? I mean, Dublin. Susie says, I haven't seen the movie Brooklyn yet with Saoirse Ronan. Yes, that is a great, great movie. It shows, it's a really good perspective of the Irish Americans who came here towards the 1900s. But if you want to see the Irish Americans from the mid-1800s, Gangs of New York is a great movie. This is a nice building. What is this? That's weird. It's like old and new at the same time. It looks like the Crystal Palace from Spain. But yeah, it has a similar look to it. It is a new building, but it has this facade that makes it look much, much older. It makes it look like a late 1800s building. St. Stephen's Green Shopping Center. Oh, interesting. Oh, this is a shopping center. Fascinating. All right, let's go to a park. Anthony says your stream is jaw-droppingly clear. Lisa says, can we go inside? Okay, let's take a peek. Let's pop in. Let me know if there's a Irish version of saying popping in, because that's very English. And taking a peek is very American. Okay, you'll love the park. I'll show it to you in a bit. Did you go to O'Connell Street? I showed it on the bus tour, but not walking yet. Stay tuned. Show that at some point. Oh wow! You know, the shopping. I did not expect the shopping mall to be so interesting from the inside. Look at this. Wow. Oh, this is gorgeous. Hey, what is this? Hey, anyone in the comments who's from Dublin, let me know, what building was this? This is gorgeous. Looks like it used to be a train station or an exposition hall like the Crystal Palaces. Wow, that's amazing. I did not expect that. Looking from the outside, I thought this was going to be a dark, gloomy, tiny little mini shopping mall. It feels like a French train station, says Chris. Yes. Oh yes. Looks like a Crystal Palace. That too. That feels, yep. Like a Crystal Palace. Orion says, was nothing before, just fake old. Really? So they just completely made this recently? Jay Hendricks says you're right. The Irish got money. Yeah, they do. Oh, this guy's running. Someone stole something. This is gorgeous. It looks like the National Museum of Scotland. Oh, interesting. Gary, that's interesting. Why doesn't security have like the scooters like they do in the US? That's gorgeous. All right, everyone, we're gonna explore a mall before we go to the park. This used to be the food court. Lots of American stores, says McCulley's. That is literally the case with almost every shopping mall I've ever been to anywhere around the world. Always American shops. But we see some shops that are not American here. Got TJ Maxx. The food court is closed. Yeah, it is. Due to COVID. Fortunately. How many euro to the dollar is? 120 euro. Oh, we got more security officers running. What's happening here? Joe says Ariel travels hundreds of thousands of miles to go to a shopping mall. We could have just stayed in Long Island. Could have just gone to Long Island. I'm not sure am I able to film in here. I hope I don't get stopped. But let me head out. I'm getting copyrighted by the song above. All my videos have been copyrighted here in Ireland. I don't know. It's been hard to dodge music.
Fishmonger, and sure it was no wonder, for so was before, and they both wheeled their barrows through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive. Sweet Molly Malone, but her ghost wheels her barrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
All right, and we're back. Here's the dough donuts of Dublin, the rolling donut. It's been everywhere here in Dublin. I've seen it. But they don't have really weird flavors. Mostly the same flavors you'll see everywhere. They have pumpkin spice in Ireland. They do have pumpkin spice latte in Starbucks. Yeah, they do. It's pumpkin spice season right here. Ariel Disney. A Disney store. Disney. You do not want to see the big mouse angry. I'll tell you that. Don't anger the big, cute mouse of Disney. People want to hear cockles and mussels again? Oh, speaking of mouses. Okay. This is a weird sculpture. A bear. This is a bear. All right, let's cross the street and go into the park. Oh, hey. There's horses here? What? So cool. Ireland has horses. That's amazing. Look at that. So a lot of people are demanding that I play cockles and mussels again. You guys really want to hear that song? One more time? I don't know if the public demands it, I shall give. I shall oblige to playing the world famous song Cockles and Mussels. Remember to not suck the cockles and not to pull the mussels. It's the other way around, okay? Remember that. Do not suck the cockles and pull the mussels. Here is St. Stephen Green Park. Tugtar Kol Saus Sa Das Petantas Saar An Rol Santaksha Alba Ag Parik Faucha Stai Baina. Oh, sorry, I forgot I don't know Irish. Anyway, this exhibition located throughout the park describes the remarkable role played by the volunteer garrison of St. Stephen's Green during the Easter Rising of 1916. Oh, I love how that rhymes. Right on time. When Ireland was seeking independence from British rule, one of the most ferocious battles of the Rising took place right over here during Easter week. 24th through the 30th of April 1916. Significant figures from Irish history, including Commandant Molly Malone, Countess Markievicz. Do let me know how to pronounce that name. She's a very famous woman of the Irish Easter Rising. And members of the Irish Citizen Army and Cumann na Mban, how do we pronounce that as well, played an important role in the Eastern Rising here in St. Stephen's Green. Over 100 Irish Citizen Army volunteers occupied the park in the early hours of the Rising, as it was an important strategical location in the center of Dublin with intersecting roads and water supplies. St. Stephen's Green Park was one of the occupied zones, including the General Post Office and Boland's Mill. While the Rising was not a military success, a free state was achieved in 1922. And here's the park that we're walking through. Designed mostly in Georgian times, but there has been a park here since medieval times. It has been one of the oldest commons used in Dublin. Markievicz. Thank you so much. Markievicz. That's how I pronounce her name. Countess Markievicz. Irish is the most difficult language to pronounce, says Pat. Indeed it is. Chris, Gaelic. You know, that's a great comment. Gaelic is usually what people call the language that is from the Celtic family in Scotland. Irish Gaelic is just usually referred to as just Irish. But yeah, it is definitely Gaelic or Gaelic. Now Ariel's getting his Irish humor, says McCulley's. What are you talking about? Talking about the cockles and the mussels? They do tours in horse carriages. Oh, that's so cool.
This kind of nice house.
It's like a mini Prospect Park. Indeed it is. For a minute I thought that Guinness was taking effect. Says Joe. No, not yet. Not yet. I need some cockles and mussels in order to get that Guinness effect. So the Easter Rising was a big deal in Irish modern history. It was the first time that they really started declaring their independence. Of course, there's been many attempts to declare Irish independence beforehand. So if you don't know, Ireland was in essence a colony of England or of Britain. I may use the terms England and Britain interchangeably. Even when you're reading Irish history, they use those terms interchangeably. And the reason for that is that Britain encompasses England, Scotland, and Wales. And let me know if also includes Isle of Man or the Falkland Islands. But it encompasses those three countries. The thing is, I use it and other people use it interchangeably because it was mostly English lords and parliament and the powers that be that really, you know, did the colonization. So, so when you talk about that type of British history, the English were mostly the ones who did everything. I'm not sure if any Scots were involved in the colonization in Ireland. Do let me know. But Ireland is also known as the last colony of England, even though England had a few others towards the 1940s and 50s. So Ireland being a colony by the English, and the reason it was a colony was because they purposefully bought all the land or took the land and made it into a bunch of plantations, similar to what they did in US territory, taking away from the Native Americans. The Irish had enough by 1916, and they round up the Irish soldiers, the Irish army, in order to rebel against the English. And that's where they made their grand proclamation of Irish independence. And this paved the way for a few years later for the Irish War of Independence. What's the deal with the skinny bear? I'm not sure. Patrick O'Reilly made it. So here's the Irish army gathering. Not to be confused with later the Irish Republican Army that appears many years later during the Irish Civil War. And it led to devastation because this was in the midst of World War I. England, Britain was involved in fighting against the damn Germans. The Germans wanted to support the Irish, and they actually gave them weapons during World War I. Those weapons were intercepted by the British. The Germans were also tempted to actually come here and help the Irish, but they were also intercepted by the British. And the Germans were not able to help out the Irish, so they had to go on their own. And it led to a very bloody and terrible fighting right here in Dublin. Many buildings were destroyed. Now, one of the more famous women involved, Markievicz, Countess Constance Markievicz, who was an English countess, married to an English count, was born in Buckingham Gate in London, and her father was Henry Gore Booth, who was an Anglo-Irish, so she had some Irish descendancy, who provided free food for his tenants during the famine at his estate at Lissadell House in County Sligo. Inspired by the poet W.B. Yeats, Constance became interested in Irish nationalism and other social issues. She later married Count Casimir Doonan Markievicz. In 1903, she moved to Dublin, where she co-founded with Bloomer Hobson of the party right over here. Working with James Colony, she ran a soup kitchen at Liberty Hall during the 1913 lookout, before joining the Irish Citizen Army, the ICA. During the 1916 Rising, she was appointed the second in command to Michael Malone at St. Stephen's Green. Upon surrendering, she kissed her revolver before handing it over to a British officer. Although condemned to death, she had her sentence commuted to penal servitude for life. Under the general amnesty of 1917, Markievicz was released and was later converted into Catholicism. In 1918, she was the first woman elected into the House of Commons. But she did not take her seat, a part of the party Sinn Féin, which was the main party during the revolution right over here, Sinn Féin. She was one of the first women to hold a cabinet position worldwide when appointed as Minister of Labor in 1919. She's commemorated here on a limestone bust at St. Stephen's Green Park. Hey Caleb, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate you. So she was pissed off when she was sentenced to death and they commuted her sentence, because the Countess actually wanted to die with the other 7 conspirators. 7 of the men who signed the Proclamation of Irish Independence were all killed, were all executed. They were rounded up, taken to the jail, which I am really hoping I can show you. Tickets are indeed sold out until mid-October. So maybe if they respond to my email, I'll get to show you. But they were rounded up and shot or hung, or I think there was a few different ways that they killed them all. Countess was pissed off that she was not included in that, because she was definitely one of the top ranking people in that Easter Rising. Here's the proclamation: the provisional government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. And the names signed right over here were the men involved. They were sentenced to death here at the jail, right next door. Beautiful park. BA says, I see why the Irish love New York City. It reminds this reminds me a lot of the East Village and Central Park. Yeah, Ireland looks a lot like parts of New York and a lot like Boston. So I can imagine if you're from this area of Ireland, those two cities might have felt a little bit like home. Phil says, go to Kilimanjaro. Let me know how to pronounce that. Kilimanjaro. For the real history. As I mentioned before, sold out until mid-October. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if that place is actually really in high demand. Because every time I see a video of Kilimanjaro, it's not that full. So I reached out to them directly, but they haven't reached back. Gary answered to the sound of the bell. Hey! To Kilimanjaro. Full ducks. Facebook is doubling stars, so thank you so much. Missed any stars? Really tired. I'm not sure why I always get bad service in parks. Why does that happen? Hey, Morgan, thank you so much for It's open. It's open. It's just surprisingly they're sold out till October. That's beautiful. Because trees are really good at blocking signal. Ah, is that the case? So, now I'm very curious. Hey. Darren, thank you so much for tuning in. Giedich to Darren, Northern Ireland. So yeah, very bad service here. I'm not sure why. So let me walk as fast out of the park as possible. So S Fields is motioning for more cockles and mussels to be played. Oh wait, was that no more cockles and mussels or yes, cockles and mussels? Darren says, are you on 3? I'm doing videos at 4 p.m. Irish time. We're gonna go to one more stop, which is about 10 minutes away. A little bit more. So you guys want to see one more amazing statue? Let me know in the comments. Because I love your narration. Cockles and Muscles is now my ringtone. Damn right it is. In the history of mankind.
South may take like 30 minutes to get to my
B. Griffin says one more statue. Yes, because statues are amazing. Statues are the best. Super. Smoke. Cigarette smoke here. That service. Let me. Oh, Darren, am I using 3? Yeah, I'm using a combination of 3 and Virgin. I'm just trying to find my way out of the park before. So bear with me. I like the winding paths in the park, says B. Griffin. Yeah, indeed. Very beautiful winding pathways. So green, even though it's autumn, yeah. Is it as big as Central Park? Not this park, no. This park is... Alright, I found an exit, yes. Fine. Finally, we're out of that beautiful park. Oh my god, I thought we would never leave that gorgeous green park. Ooh. Beautiful park, but terrible for service. Terrible for cell phone service. So let's go to our final stop. I wish I could show you more of the park, but absolutely terrible for cell phone service. More of the Georgian townhouses here. Dublin has the largest enclosed park. So yes, so Dublin does have a park that's even bigger than Central Park, twice as big, called Phoenix Park. But judging by the signal, even in this tiny little park, I'm not too optimistic that I'll be able to do a live video in Phoenix Park. Susie sent 1,000 stars. Oh my god, Susie, thank you so much for 1,000 stars. Susie, thank you. You the best, Susie. You the best. Alright, so I have not much history to talk about, so feel free to ask me any questions. Just follow the park if you're lost. No, I know my way around here in Dublin. I like Georgian and Edwardian buildings, but Victorian is my favorite, says BA. Ah, cool. How about St. Anne? St. Anne style, really nice. Off to our final statue, yes. We got one more statue on this journey of Ireland, of Dublin. Wow, Susie, thank you so much for the 1,000 stars. That's so kind of you to send them. And thank you so much, everyone, for sending stars. Let's check out our final statue of one of the most famous men in Irish history. A man that for nearly 100 years was not really talked about in Ireland, at least not officially, because of the tight grip of the Catholic Church. But since then, in the past 30 years, give or take, he has become a hero of Ireland. He has many funny quotes, and that man is the man who tried to court Bram Stoker's wife before they got married. That is, of course, Oscar Wilde. We're heading right now to Oscar Wilde statue. Hey, Kay, thank you so much for 50 stars. Thank you so much. 50 stars. Appreciate you. So interesting. History. Yeah, it is. History is interesting. Interesting is history as well. Wow. This beautiful artwork. I've seen this artist before. It's sponsored by Virgin Media. Colette says he was also gay. He was locked up for it. It was also made legal in the 90s. Indeed he was. So that's one of the reasons why he was not talked about officially by the school system or by the government here in Ireland for many decades. Hey Marianne, thank you so much for 500 stars. Kathy, thank you so much for the stars. Christine, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Chris, thank you so much for the stars as well. Oh, we got a lot of stars. We got so much stars that we got some patty power. This is just an area to gamble. It's like a slot machine place. Is recreational cannabis legal here? That I don't know. I've smelled a lot in Grafton Street, though I don't know. If anyone does know that, do let us know. Oh, thank you so much, Colette. So Patty Power is for betting on horses, horse racing. Colette says no, it's not legal. Okay, thank you so much. Marianne, thank you so much for 500 stars. You are the best. Ryan says today's exactly 6 months away from St. Patrick's Day. So it's St. Patrick's Day inverted. Indeed. actually. We gotta go this way. We gotta go further up. It's like our OTB. Oh, thank you so much. OTB. I've not heard of that. OTB. Colette says, can't believe you're here. Oh, yeah, Colette. I'm really enjoying Dublin. It's a nice city. Mark says, am I going the right direction? Every direction is the right direction. There is no one direction here on this channel, because every direction is a valid and proper direction. We are a multi-directional show. Except for that one lad who's Irish and one in the band One Direction. He has One Direction, but we don't. B. Griffin says, I like that attitude. Oh, thank you so much, B. Griffin. Irene said 145 stars. Thank you so much, Irene. Like the great J.R.R. Tolkien wrote, an urbanist is never lost, nor does he go exactly where he has to go. An urbanist goes exactly where he means to go. I'm paraphrasing, of course, the famous line from Gandalf. Oh, look at this. What is this? The Department of Treasury. Or is this the Treasury? Let's take a closer look. Let's cross the street. This is kind of cool. Who wants to go inside here? What is the Department of Teosich? Teosich? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Well, this is the government? Let us know. That's so cool. Beautiful building. There's security there, so I can't show too much. A beautiful building. B. Griffin says this is where Google and Apple keep all their money. T-Shock. Thank you so much. T-Shock. T-Shock. What does that mean? What is the Department of T-Shock? Office of the Attorney General. Prime Minister. Oh, Prime Minister is based here. Well, that's kind of cool. Cola says this is our leader. Well, what happened to all good President Michael Higgins? Isn't he your leader? Who's the real leader here in Ireland? Let me know in the comments. Is it this man over here? Looks probably one of the friendliest presidents I've ever seen. if I've ever seen a president. The 100th anniversary of Dal Eran. Eran. How do I pronounce this? Air, which means Ireland. Air, on. What does the on stand for? Is that Sanders? No, that is not Bernie Sanders. That is President Michael Higgins, the president of Ireland, already on the second term. Dal Eran held its first public meeting in Round Room of Dublin's Mansion House on 21st of January 1919. It was a brave and defiant move, coming 6 weeks after the December 1918 general election, where 69 of the 101 successful candidates were pro-independence. Oh wow, a majority. All elected members were invited to attend the very first meeting, but given the complicated political landscape of the time, not all would show up. On that day, 27 members were present in the Mansion House, and those members wasted no time in getting down to work. They declared Irish independence, sought international recognition of Irish freedom, and set the process of building a proper sovereign state. Their work has changed and developed in many ways since the early days. And as we prepare to celebrate its 100th anniversary, we know that the Dal Eran, do let us know, never lost sight of its guiding principles. Rather, it has continually adapted to keep abreast, like we did with Molly Malone, of the many new challenges it has faced throughout the following 10 decades. Wow. History. Isn't it beautiful? Let's go to this park over here. A good group of lads, indeed they are. Good lads they were. But not lad in the English sense. Have a Bailey's cream on me, says Pat. Oh, thank you so much, Pat. You're looking for me to try some good Irish drinks other than Guinness and stew. I'll do my best to find a good Irish drink. Irish 12 says Scott. Okay, Scott. I'll try Irish 12 at some point. Hey, Ariel. Ariel's tuning in. Yes, indeed, this is Ireland. Dal Eran is the Irish Parliament. War of Independence happened on the same day. It did. What is this? Let's see. Faucha, welcome. National Memorial to the members of the Defense Forces who died in the service of the state. Oh, fascinating.
Está contenta, ¿no?
Kay says I need to try Kilkenny beer. Okay. Wow. The thing gets misty because of the fire. I wonder how they allow some ventilation. Big commemorations happen here every year where they have soldiers. Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Veronica. It's an eternal flame, yeah. It's an eternal flame. I've heard Irish butter is great, says Lorraine. Oh yeah, Lorraine. I've had all the Irish butter. Every last bit of it. Slathered all around every food that I've eaten here in Ireland. Slathered on the Irish soda bread, slathered on the sourdough, slathered on sausages, slathered on my Guinness, everywhere, even in my coffee. The Irish butter is a thing of magic. Indeed hungry. I'm hungry for a big meat pie. Gigantic one. Let's go inside here. Into the wildernesses of Dublin. The ancient forests of this great city. The fair city, as they say it. This is a park. Helen says more guffawing. What are you referring to, Helen? We don't guffaw in this channel. We only speak the truth. This is the Giant's Garden. I love this. Your arteries will be hardening. That's kind of cool. That's awesome. So this is Merrion Square. Merrion Square. Kathy, thank you so much for the stars. It's nice that you take us to all these places, Ariel. You're the reason I watch these videos. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. Thank you everyone for the kind comments, because luckily I don't have as bad as this gentleman over here who had it back in 100 years ago. I'll show him in a bit, but making content online sometimes can be rather what's a good word? It can beat you up from time to time. You know, making videos and getting new audiences, and those new audiences are not always the kindest at first, and they tend to be very critical about every little thing, or straight up just trolling. So hearing those nice comments really do help a lot. So thank you so much. Right here we have a very interesting statue that looks different from two angles. Here he looks like he's smirking. This is Oscar Wilde. Let me know a great Oscar Wilde quote in the comments. So Oscar Wilde, famous for his play The Importance of Being Earnest, which was featured in the timeless classic film Spider-Man 2, where Mary Jane Watson is actually doing a rendition of it. It's a great play. He was also known for having a few affairs with very famous men. One of those men was actually Walt Whitman, who I covered in Long Island. He actually visited him in Long Island, and I showed his birthplace and where he hung out in Huntington. But another man was this lord from Britain, and he was very young. He was only 21 years old, and Oscar Wilde was in his mid to late 30s. He really loved Oscar Wilde's wit, and they got into a very torrid love affair. Oscar Wilde was very famous, and despite his relationship with other men, which was looked down upon during that time. Of course, times are very different nowadays, which is a very good thing. Aside from that, he was also very controversial for his work. His poetry was usually terribly criticized because people said that it was a ripoff from a host of other writers. Even certain colleges in Ireland and in England said that he was plagiarizing. He wasn't plagiarizing, but he was just very heavily inspired by other writers. His plays weren't really looked so well upon either. And unfortunately, during his time, people talked a lot of trash about his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. They thought Picture of Dorian Gray was a bit too pulpy and a bit too commercial. Fortunately, he got a lot of shit during his life, but it did not stop him from being a very witty man. You would call him also a dandy because he was also known as always dressing very flamboyantly. And dandies don't denote any type of sexual orientation because dandies swing any other way. But unfortunately, with that relationship with the Lord, his own family member got wind of it. And she blasted Oscar Wilde in public. Oscar Wilde, in retaliation, sued her for libel. This was a big mistake, messing with a British royal. And he was sentenced for homosexuality and was sent to jail. Suffered in jail for 3 years, where he was worked almost to death. By the time he was released from jail, he was already in a very weak state, both emotionally and physically. And he moved off to France to live only a few years more. And he died over there, apparently from meningitis. But some people say it might have also been syphilis, but also that might have been a way to defame him too. This statue shows two sides of Oscar Wilde. I love that quote. Mr. Deanne, thank you so much for that amazing quote. So Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." So here we see smirking Oscar Wilde. And here we see somber, serious Oscar Wilde. Gunpowder says, yes, indeed, for being gay. Indeed. He lived from 1854 to 1900, died very young. Sculptor is Danny Osborne. It was commissioned by the Guinness Ireland Group. Kind of looks like he had a stroke. No, it's not depicting that. So yeah, this might look like someone having a stroke. It would be very seriously concerning if you see someone having that face. But no, it's supposed to depict them different look on each side. Originally, the entire statue was going to be out of marble, but they decided to use a whole host of different elements, from jade to rare pink stone, to this other rare black stone. The laces are made out, I think, bronze or copper, one of those two. Right here, the laces. And the head used to be made out of porcelain, but I think it was replaced with a thicker stone because it started cracking up. Hey, Lisa says, can you please find a church we can all go to? I will show you a church. I showed a church 2 days ago. But unfortunately, yeah, I showed that church, which was mind-blowing. I hope to show you another church soon. And look at the different stone he used here to denote his socks. This is very genius. Wow, look at that. I'm just going to touch a little bit. Oh, look, it's a rougher stone. Here's probably his most famous photograph, and he also became very famous in America as well for his wit. What an amazing contribution to the Irish story this man made. Indeed. Halloween originated in Ireland. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about Samhain soon, Ray, at some point. Stay tuned. And the stone also is brought over, I think, from his hometown, nearby. It's brought over from nearby. Mary says, oh, Oscar also said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. Give them your new Guinness socks, says Susie. Yeah, so everyone, I bought Guinness socks. Now, one thing I noticed, I posted a TikTok video yesterday of Guinness. I posted it on Facebook, and I got very nice comments on Facebook. But on TikTok, they weren't so nice. And something struck me very interesting. Hate comments happen, I've now noticed, in many parts of the world. I've encountered them in Greece, I encountered them in Italy, I've encountered them in the US, I encountered them also in Mexico. They're all a different quality. But I was kind of a little bit shocked. I got a lot of comments, basically people attributing, calling me gay or calling me homosexual for whatever reason. It's not something I would find offensive at all. Everyone lives their own lifestyle. I just found it very interesting that people would use that to spread hate. I found that very interesting that I encountered that in Ireland, and I wonder, unfortunately, if those some of those sentiments that were alive 100 years ago still kind of trickle here today, and I hope they do disappear at some point, because, you know, come on guys, that's a bit silly. Regardless of what your sexual orientation is, doesn't really matter. So there we go, the Oscar Wilde statue. So right in front we have actually a very interesting statue. We have this bust of Dionysus. Dionysus, of course, being the god of wine and frolicking and partying. And here we have people leaving quotes. Line, the telling of beautiful, untrue things is the proper aim of art. Man enleast himself when he talks is in his own person. Give him a mask and he will tell you the truth. Oh, I love that. Great quotes. That's great quotes. So I had to mute because someone was playing a very famous song. This is Oscar Wilde's wife. Right over here, Constance. See her depicted right over here. So that's Constance. Right here is her depiction of them just getting married, and it shows Constance pregnant with one of his daughters. And their great-grandchildren actually unveiled the statue, which was amazing. And here is where Oscar Wilde is buried. at Père Lachaise Cemetery, which I actually have a video of. And I did visit his gravesite over there in Paris. Wow, he couldn't afford a chauffeur. I think they had a pretty good relationship. I think him and Constance did have a good relationship together, as far as I know. Do let me know any other last quotes. But yeah, lovely pair of statues. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in, and thank you everyone who's been sending stars and super chats. I really do appreciate that. And thank you everyone here on these comments for being such friendly, nice, decent human beings. That means a whole lot in this world. I think we tend to idolize a lot of the heroes of history. People who fought revolutions, kings, queens, lords and countesses and presidents, war heroes, or great artists. But sometimes I think we have to pay tribute to the people who are just being decent on a daily basis. It's something that goes a very, very long way in this world to be decent. You don't need to do anything big in someone's life or many other people's lives. Yeah, you might not be written down in the history books if you don't call or become a great artist, but you will be remembered in people's hearts some way or another. So thank you so much for being decent human beings, everyone. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Slán, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.